Hello, everybody. Yes, I know. I normally have only been doing videos on Saturday, but John's Long Box, he was doing his Sunday show, and he was saying about how he watches these videos, and it was very complimentary. And I think the biggest thing is when he said about how his uh, his wife looked over the shoulder and goes, that's the guy that's doing your Printer's Devil story." And he was like, "Yeah," and how she was very complimentary. So I was like, and he'd said about like the Vibe Nightwing story. And I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I've done a lot of retooling to that idea. And because it's all it is basically it's a daydream. I thought I'd do another video today and I'd talk about it. Um, I'd thought of this story a while back. And because I really like Vibe. And like, how can you bring Vibe back but still have it as, because remember, they brought Vibe back in the New 52. And they brought him back as a suburban white bread little pussy bitch, soccer kid. And I'm like, that's not Vibe. Vibe is a former gang member who tags. He's a tagger, and I mean, he's just all around like a punk. Okay, and he doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks about him. And I always love, and Vibe is my favorite character. And I'm like, let's really think about this. And I kind of came up with a way to kind of bring him back. And how it is, and I changed it around. The story would start with Tim Hunter in Gotham, and he's investigating a murder. And the person who was murdered was from LA. So he goes out to LA, and he's investigating the murder, and he finds other murders. And what he discovers is that all these people that have been murdered, they have a they have a frequency to them, a vibrational frequency that's separate from our Earth. Okay, he discovers that someone on another Earth, remember the multiverse, is using this Earth as a dumping ground. So Tim needs to get to that Earth, but more importantly, he need, he he's been able to glean together from his investigation that all these people that are being dumped on this earth are from an LA, on whatever earth that is. So he needs someone to get him to that earth, but also who knows LA. And so that's where we switch to a abandoned construction site. Think Fast and the Furious. Everybody's got their street racers, and the girls are all dressed up in their hoochie come fuck me outfits, and the guys are all alpha males and acting all tough, and they all work on their cars and they race their cars. And like I said, it's a construction site. You know how in those construction sites they've got those metal plates that they put down for on the road while they're doing the construction, and then they place them there, and then before the job's done, before they put the asphalt down, those plates are on the road. Well, here all the girls are dancing on this metal plate in front of a tractor trailer flatbed where the DJ is playing his tunes, and from like the crane, from the base of the crane, somebody set up like a strobe lights are hanging from it and whatnot, and everybody's just basically having a great party, and everybody's walking around strutting their stuff, and the metal plates like here, okay, Vibes here, the other guy's there. This other guy's going he's Hispanic also, and he talks about how all these blanca chicos, these my girls, and they're all coming home with me. And Vibe, he goes, yours, Hesse? And he walks up and he puts his foot, not his full foot, just the tip of, almost like his toes, but just puts the front of his foot on the metal plate, and the plate starts to vibrate. And the girls are like gyrating, dancing around. Next thing you know, they're really like, "Oh, this feels good." And really dancing. And he pulls his foot off the plate, and the girls all leave, and they go and they crowd around him and around his car, and he's got like a tricked out, street racer, import, and the guy's pissed, and he whips out his gun, and what Vibe does is he snaps his fingers almost like he's like this, so it's when he's done snapping his fingers, it's a form of a gun, and he shoots a vibration wave out, and the guy's gun just it's like a Glock and just shatters into a bunch of pieces, and he goes, I don't think there's yours. Go elsewhere. And at this point, Tim Hunter kind of disguised. So at this point, think of it this way: Vibe is Van Diesel, Tim Hunter is Paul Walker. Okay, and Tim Hunter walks up to him, and Vibe can tell right away you're a soup, you're a cape. What do you want? And it's like, I need your help or something. He goes, I don't do that anymore. I'm not in that business. And you go bother someone else. And he's like, no, I need you to, I really need your help. And it's like, look, the only way you're going to help me is if you race and you beat me. And Tim's like, okay, I'll race you. And here he has, I mean, remember when he had his own series? He had the Red Robin mobile. He's got a street car import, but it's kind of the paint job is done in such a way that it was very reminiscent of that car. And Vibe looks at him. He goes, you can use NOS, but you can't use any of those fancy gadgets in your car. And Tim's like, that works. That's fair. That's fair. I'll agree to those terms. So they race, and Tim does lose. But the way you would do the race is that Vibe's playing dirty, and he's pulling all these tricks to try to cause Tim to wreck. But Tim doesn't wreck. Tim loses, but he loses by just a little bit, even with everything that Vibe was throwing at him. So when they're done, Vibe gets out of his car and he kind of nods his head to him, and he goes, okay. He goes, you earned my respect. I threw everything at you, and you survived. And you didn't. More importantly, you didn't really retaliate too much. All you just tried to do is beat me fair and square. Even though I was playing dirty. What do you got? And so Tim pulls out a data pad, and he's showing, like kind of like a mini iPad, and he's showing him this stuff, and and he's explaining the situation. These bodies are from a different Earth, and this Earth is being used as a dumping ground. And Vibe's looking, and Tim goes, "This is the vibrational frequency in which they came from." And Vibe looks at it, looks at him, and goes, "You don't want to go to that Earth. Just make it a cold case and just go about your business. You don't want to go to that Earth." And so Tim's like, "No, I need to go to that Earth." And he's like, "No, you really don't." Well, at this point, like Vibe's kind of like, he's kind of like, "You're gonna regret it. You don't want to go to this Earth." And Tim's like, I have to. I mean, no, these people, these murders deserve to be solved. And he goes, no, they don't deserve to be solved. And so you'll be this whole diatribe. Vibe's finally just about ready to start giving in when all of a sudden the police show up. And Vibe's like, we'll take, and Vibe's like, shit. Okay, everybody, we gotta get out of here. So Vibe jumps into his car. But when Vibe jumps into his car, he grabs this blonde girl who is in a hoochie come fuck me outfit and shoves her into his car. And so he races off. This black Escalade that was there follows him. Tim jumps into his car and follows them. And now in Vibe's car, he turns to the blonde and he goes, your boyfriend better have a damn good reason for wanting to go to that Earth. Here, this blonde is Stephanie Brown. And here, for like, I guess maybe like for like a week or two, she's been infiltrating the streetcar scene because of Tim Hunter knowing while he was doing the investigation, doing everything he needs to do. He figured it was most likely he was going to need Vibe's help, and he asked Stephanie to kind of infiltrate the scene to basically just do intel for him. So Vibe's going to Stephanie's going, your boyfriend better have a damn good reason to want to go to this Earth. Over the radio, he hears Tim go, yeah, I have a very good reason to go to this Earth. Are we going to go there or not? Here, Tim, using all the high-tech electronics in his car, he's tapped into the radios or the speaker system, the electronics, the radio, Vibe's car, and the Escalade. And so here they're talking. And as they're racing to evade the police, they're heading out of the city. You know how as soon as you get out of the LA area, it's a desert. Okay, that's where they're headed. They're heading out into the desert. Okay, and Vibe's like, "Are you sure you want to go there? You really don't want to go?" And try to continue talking out to him. Tim says no, no. I need to go there. And he's like, kind of like, okay, but it's your funeral. Oh, before that, when they're debating this, uh, Vibe does say to Tim, he goes, why are you coming to me? Why don't you have? Aren't you best friends with the speedster, indicating Bart Allen? And Tim goes, they're all busy, and we don't need to know what they're busy doing. Just basically, they're busy. He needs someone who can breach that uh, uh, dimensional door to the multiverse, to a different planet, Earth, which Vibe has those powers to do. So Vibe's like, okay, we'll go there, but don't say I didn't warn you. And he says, everybody link up tight. And what he's talking about is he wants every single car needs to get as close as possible. So basically, it's like, you know how when you're racing, like say NASCAR, and they say they got a foot and a half from each other. That's what that's kind of basically what he's saying. Maybe Vibe will say something okay, uh, 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 let's restrict our plate or something like that. Something basically those super speedways where they all are bunched up because of drag force and whatnot, and they use restrictor plates. So the Escalade gets really close. She's all but touching Vibe's car, and Tim's playing a little too safe. He's not as close to the Escalade as he should. Vibe opens a dimensional doorway. Dimensional doorway opens up. His car goes through. Escalade goes through. Tim's car goes through, but he's not close enough, so half the rear end of his car is completely chopped off. And his car, once they get through dimensional door to the new planet, to the new Earth, his car is just going all over the place and crashes. And they stop, the Escalade and Vibe stop, and Vibe's making fun of him. Vibe's making fun of him, like, hey, I told you to kiss her ass. And he's talking about the Escalade. I told you to kiss that Escalade's ass, but you didn't do it. What? You're afraid of girls or something? Um, and then out of the Escalade steps Onyx. Onyx is one of those characters that she was in I think 2 issues of Detective Comics, and from after that they never really used her ever. Later on, I think they reimagined her, but they reimagined her wrong. They just had her as a black butch bitch with a bald head, and it was one of those where it's like, this isn't Onyx. Onyx had a great black and white costume, puffy sleeves. She had like she had a mini cape that came down the front and stuff right around here, which was really cool. And along with she was had a samurai sword and whatnot. And size, so she was just kind of like a cool character. Think of her as a stylish uh, a stylish Electra. a stylish black Electra and how she appeared. Okay, and so now Tim's car's trashed, and Vi's making fun of him. How like, hey, you weren't as close to her as I told you to be. What are you going to do now? And Tim's like, well, we'll just make do with what we got. And here, what he does is he folds the driver's seat and passenger seat down, and here he then like clicks a latch, opens it up, and the uh, inside the seat, okay, is a compartment which has like all of his bat gear, all of her spoiler gear. But when I say gear, I mean like their gadgets and weaponry. But he doesn't have full costumes. He's got like his domino mask, her pullover, hood mask, and like boots and gloves and just bare essentials. Okay, and so that way, when you have them in costume on this the new altered dimensional Earth, they don't look like Robin per se. They don't look like Spoiler per se. The closest I can say is basically is like they look like they're cosplaying out of what they had in their closet. Does that make sense? So that way they can't be pinned down. That way, when Tim's doing whatever he needs to do on this Earth to find out who the murderer of these people are, he can't necessarily be tracked back to being from that Earth. Okay, and I thought about how like Tim, he basically has his domino mask, his gloves and his boots, and his belt is and his belt. Okay, with his staff, but he doesn't have his cape. He doesn't have the green and red attire. And Stephanie, I thought about this and how it's like I always liked uh, Stephanie when she had the cowl that went over her over her whole face. I don't like that whole thing where they had just the thick scarf that goes up that covers her mouth and nose. I don't like that. So I thought about like where it's like. So here's how I thought of it. Her costume. So imagine this is a girl, and Cassie's wearing a cami that's low cut. Okay. Well, what she puts on a hoodie that's cut that is like here, it's down to here, but it's not cut off to here. It's cut up like this, so that way her boobs will be like popping, and then she's got the hoodie, okay, but she's got like in the front, it looks like a bit of a turtleneck. Here it's her mask that she can just pull up over her head. So she got the mask pulls up, but she's got the hoodie, okay, and then the hoodie sleeves stop right about here, or yeah, they stop about here. So that way she can be walking around LA, and she kind of just looks like a little bit of a low life thug, but yet she pulls it up, she's dominant, or she's got the hood mask, and she's then spoiler, so she just matches in. So and then so now, oh shoot, I can't be doing it. Okay, here's a lesson for you guys. When you're inking, okay, when specifically doing stippling, you're doing very fine dots like this. You can't go deep into your well. You only want your ink to go up there at the most, but ideally, right about here is where you want it to go. I have the ink all the way up to here. That's no good at all. So we gotta clean off this nib, get all the ink out of there, and then we'll put a new, dip it in again. So there's your inking tip of the day during this video. So while we're taking this break, while I clean this nib, do me a favor and click that like button. John, Marcus, I know you guys do a great job of liking and sharing this video on Twitter. I hope that when you guys are done watching this video on YouTube, I hope you'll take a moment to click that like button. Thank you guys. So, getting back to this. So, see how you can see just a little bit of the dot in the reservoir. That is really ideally where you want it to be. That enables you to do these thick dots here, but also enables you to do these really fine dots here. So, and so we're going to go back. We're going to go over here because I want to get more. This, I don't like how it's so harsh. I want more fine dots here. Okay, because remember, you want to, you really overall, you want the blankets to help pull. You want the blankets to be darker to create that other, another darkness. To again, you're framing these guys up. Everything here, all they are is framing devices. It's nice. I mean, these guys are rendered beautifully. This hearth and this is all rendered beautifully. This wood grain's beautiful, but all that is a framing device. Everything here is a framing device for those guys right there. So that's why I'm putting all that extra work in to darken this blanket, is because I really want this to be darker and to help frame up these characters. So, but so we've got the transformation. They're on the new Earth. So now Vibe is like, okay, now that we're here, we gotta go someplace. And Vibe and well, Tim's like, and Tim says like the whole reason why I wanted you over a speedster is I need someone who knows LA, and you know the LA of our Earth. You're going to be the best person to be able to evaluate stuff happening on this other Earth. And Vibe will make a remark about somebody like, I know this Earth way too well. So so now that they've got their costumes and whatnot, Vibe is like, okay, we gotta go back into the city. Uh, Blanca Chica, you're with me. You can hide, little bird boy. You can sit in the back seat of the Escalade. And he says it as a joke, but once Robin gets into the Escalade, he discovers that the back seat of the Escalade is like a hacker's dream workstation. Okay, he's got like he's got like monitors, the keyboards that pop out of the back of the seat and whatnot. So he's sitting back there while Onyx is driving, and they head back into the city. And where they end up going is they go into the barrio, and they go to a chop shop. And here, once they get into the chop shop, it's a chop shop slash custom car uh, place. Okay, the guy they chop it's illegal. They chop cars, and they also then take the parts and either they sell them or they use them to make customizable rides. That's all the craze and a lot of like motor TVs and uh, part of the whole uh, uh, reality TV theme that's on TV. So he goes to this chop shop, custom car place, and it turns out this is where his brother has been this entire time. His brother Reverb. Now here his brother's there, and he's like, Paco. He's like, Cisco. Here, and we discover that his brother. Remember, from the miniseries, his brother was evil. Well, here it's one of those. It's like I Cisco Vibe defeated his brother, but I don't believe he killed him. So this is where his brother has been the whole time. Okay, and here he's like, and so they're at this chop shop, and he's explaining, is yeah, the little bird needs help, and Reverb is looking at him, and he's like, okay, what you got? So basically, at this point, Vibe has done his job. He's gotten him to this Earth, and he's basically handing him over to his brother, going, "This is the guy who can help you out. Don't say I didn't warn you." And then from there, you go into the story. And I thought, because this is like my imaginative story, uh, why not go full bore? One of the things that they discuss that's in the chop shop is Auto Man, not Robot Man, Auto Man. Otto Man was one of those characters they created, never done anything with. I always thought he was a cool character, and nobody's done anything with him. So hey, DC, you're not using him, so I'm going to use him for this imaginative story. So here he's there, and he's kind of like a a polite butler, if you will, but he basically just chops up the cars and he helps them out, and so he's there. And then from there, like I said, we go into the story and where they investigate who's doing all the killing. But then also one of the things we discover while we're there is what type of Earth this is. This isn't the DC Earth. This isn't our Earth. This is a different Earth. This is the one thing that always irritated the hell out of me. Remember when they did Infinite Crisis? They did Infinite Crisis, and they made such a big deal because they used Infinite Crisis to bring back the multiverse. And then we didn't do anything with it. Oh, yeah, that's right. A year later, we let Grant Morrison do his little multiversity story. But we didn't do anything else other than that. Excuse me! Dumbass is in editorial! You create the multiverse, but you didn't do anything with it. This would have been this is a perfect launching point. That here's Infinite Crisis. The following year, or later that year, here's all the annuals of the current titles, only they take place on a different Earth. That would have been. I don't know about you, that sounds like a damn good idea. But DC's stupid. So, but okay, guys. Um, I'm about, and that's about all I've come up with that story, and so you guys have a great day. I'm going to have a great day. The one thing I'm going to do real quick before I end this video is I'm going to hammer this real quick. I'm just going to throw some dots in here, and the reason why I'm just going to quickly throw some dots in here is uh, I need to just get some dots in here so I have the mental note to put a sheen of dots in. So, but that's it. So there you go, guys. Oh, just under half an hour. So you guys have a great day. I'm having a great day. Steelers are going to be playing soon. But until then, remember, everybody, life is stressful. Just take it all one dot at a time.